Nice to meet you again, Mr. Bond. From me and Beaumont, live and direct, this is Viewpoint. Welcome along, I'm Ian Beaumont, and yes, I'm talking about the new trailer for the James Bond film, No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's fifth entry into the James Bond canon, and potentially his last. That seems more certain this time than it has done before. But let's get to the trailer itself, because it's about 2.5 minutes, released on Good Morning America on ABC in the States, and then sort of flashed across YouTube all at the same time, pretty much. Ooh, it's an interesting little trailer, this one. Full of interesting little tidbits that kind of get me thinking, kind of get me excited, and don't do anything to stop me feeling nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous. I have been about Bond films for a while now, and this one's not that much different. The Spectre was the last one that actually got me kind of actually excited. And yeah, we all know what happened there. But let's talk about the film, the trailer itself, because we have quite an interesting opening shot, which looks like Italy, I think, which is, as I say, quite a nice little opening shot. My guess is this is from the pre-title sequence. There's a few scenes in this trailer that look like they're from what I would assume to be the pre-title sequence. We see Bond driving his DB5 with Madeleine Swan in the car. So at this point, you know, they're still together. That much is clear. But the first line that comes in, the first actual piece of dialogue in the trailer, is Madeleine Swan saying to Bond, "Why would I betray you?" And Bond replies, "We all have our secrets. We just didn't get to yours." That's interesting, because it's going to set up that obviously this story is kind of a continuation, but some time has obviously elapsed between Spectre and No Time to Die. Or between at least Spectre and the pre-title sequence of No Time to Die, because from what I'm seeing in the trailer, and I'll get to this as well, there's more time elapsed between that and when Bond sees her again in MI6. That's kind of going to be interesting. So yeah, we see this wonderful stunt of Bond catching a rope and jumping off a bridge. Very, in my view, kind of reminiscent, not an exact copy obviously, but kind of reminiscent of that pre-title sequence from GoldenEye where Bond bungee jumps off the dam. Really nice bungee jump, that one. This one is a little different, but still, from what we're seeing, looks really good. Interesting thing to note here, Universal are involved in the making of this, which is kind of different. So it means the Sony connection has ended. Where's 007? That line comes from M. And I've seen a lot of people speculating that this is not... He's not referring to James Bond, he's referring to Lashana Lynch's character. Which it might well be. I don't... That's not a big deal. I don't think. But I do like that. That will be a slight inversion of the trope that was used in Spy Love Me and Moonraker. Moneypenny, where's 007? Yeah, that line, that's good to just invert that trope a bit and ask where's 007 and not mean James Bond. We see Bond apparently in Jamaica, I think. That's a guess. And then we see Felix Leiter is back, asking Bond for a favour. Now, call me crazy, but the last couple of times we've seen Felix Leiter, I haven't really gotten much of a sense of friendship between these guys. Just sort of maybe a little bit of, standard camaraderie between, people involved in the espionage industry, but the way he says, you're the only one I trust with this, that's a little weird. I haven't gotten any sense beforehand that this version of Felix could trust Bond with anything sort of really in that sense. So, puzzling that one. And then we see Bond going into a garage, a storage facility, and unwrapping what appears to be the Aston Martin Volante that Timothy Dalton used in The Living Daylights, except we know that got blown up. So yeah, kind of interesting there. Bond has an Aston Martin Volante. Be nice to see it, because I do love that car. It's perhaps my second favourite car of all time, behind the DB5, of course. But, and that was mainly for the gadgets it had. So we'll see how closely they stick to that in terms of the gadgets. We see Lwaxana Lynch talking to Bond. Bond asks, you're a 00? 2 years. Okay, now we know she's going to be the new 007, but it's not James Bond, obviously. So, and there's a hint of tension between the two of them. That plays into something else that I'm thinking about down the line. So, Lwaxana Lynch is going to be an interesting one. We also see Bond in London. I do love the fact that he's asked for his name and he just says Bond. And the security guard just looks up at him as though, yeah, go on. And he just says, James Bond. And there's something kind of humorous about that, which I do love. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of funny. Q is seen. That's kind of interesting. We actually see Blofeld in this, and first of all we see him in a kind of a silhouette shot. But before we see him again in the trailer, we see Bond meeting up with Madeline in what looks like an MI6 corridor for the first time. Lwaxana Lynch is bringing her in, and Tanner is talking to Bond, and Bond's reaction is fascinating. So it looks like there is real tension between Madeline Swan and Bond. That's kind of interesting, I do admit. Then we get the scene with Bond talking to Blofeld, and Blofeld revealing when saying you gave up everything for her when her secret comes out, it will be the death of you. So Madeline Swan has a secret. That isn't totally surprising. She was the daughter of Mr. White. So I'm kind of curious what her secret is. That could be fun. Yeah, I really, and this mask that she sees and obviously reacts to. And then we see this man in winter gear carrying a machine gun of some kind. There's a lot of talk about James Bond, License to Kill, history of violence sort of thing, and all various action scenes getting shown there. And actually that's kind of fun, because, you know, it's sort of, it's Rami Malek talking, and this is obviously our intended villain. We also get a scene of what looks like a party of some kind, and the spotlight is on Bond. That's kind of unusual. This woman who we see a few times in this obviously evening gown, but she also is seen at a later point wielding guns and looking badass, so that's going to be interesting. I don't really know what to make of Rami Malek's character, but I do love Bond's line, "History doesn't tend to look kindly on men who play God." That's a great line. Rami Malek apparently in this film has some sort of skin condition. It's not a deformity as such, but it's kind of blotchy in places. It's a little weird, but I think, interesting. And then we just get a lot of action bits, including our lady in the evening dress, Bond, doing a big jump on a bicycle. There's also what look like nuclear rods, and men and women dressed in radiation suits. That looks kind of interesting. And then we get to see the scene, which again, I think is in the pre-title sequence. It's Bond in the DB5. The windows are being shot to hell. They're spider-webbing like crazy. And he flicks a switch and out come Gatling guns. And he starts doing donuts and sort of shooting everybody. And then we get the logo. And also something that's kind of gun barrel-esque, but is obviously in a tunnel. So that, I don't know if that's kind of for the film or whether that was just for the trailer, but that looks good. So, thoughts. Excited for what I've seen, but nervous as hell. Because this is obviously a follow-on from the Spectre story. So we are getting a continuation of the story from, Bond and Madeline Swan having been together obviously for a while, then separating at some point by the sounds of it, before they meet up again in MI6. Lwaxana Lynch's character as the new 007, no, not the new James Bond, the new 007. That's going to be interesting, and I am wondering, and this has me worried too, because I remember this from The World Is Not Enough, and I don't think it was that well done in that movie. I'm wondering if we're setting up Rami Malek's character as the main villain, like Renard was set up as the main villain in The World Is Not Enough, but then it turns out the main villain isn't who we think it is. In The World Is Not Enough, it was Sophie King, Electra King, Sophie Marceau's character. Could it be Madeline Swan? Or could it be Lwaxana Lynch's character? Who knows? I'm going to throw that one out there. What do you think of that? Is it possible that maybe Madeline Swan or Lwaxana Lynch's character is the main villain, not Rami Malek's character? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd be intrigued what you guys think about that. Also, very nervous because the last time we had a continuation story was Quantum of Solace. And that was not good. That really wasn't good. So, yeah. This could go anywhere from really bad to really good, and I have absolutely no idea where it's going to end up. But I do want to see it. But I'm nervous as hell about this because, let's be honest, in my view, the Daniel Craig era has not been a great era for Bond. Casino Royale 2006 would have been a good film if they'd had a better Le Chiffre. I really, Mads Mikkelsen didn't cut the mustard there. And I gotta say, Daniel Craig really wasn't Bond in that either. Quantum of Solace was horrible, like worst possible follow-up almost that you could have done. Overly pretentious editing and direction, overly cutty, too much edits, too many edits. The story wasn't strong enough. There's issues why, we know about that, but it just wasn't strong enough. They should have waited. And generally, the villain was abominable, and the henchmen weren't that good either. I really don't like those first two films. And then we had Skyfall, which was a real return to form, and Spectre was a big disappointment. So where does No Time to Die fit in? We won't find out until April next year. And even then, it probably might take a while. And I'm going to say this. I think it's going to take a while for the Daniel Craig era to properly settle in to Bond fans' rankings. I gotta say it, I think Casino Royale is a little overrated by some. I think Skyfall may be a little overrated by some. Not massively, but I saying best Bond film ever. No. The thing has problems, but they're not major problems, but it does have them. And I also think that Spectre may be a little overhated by some people, especially with regards to the whole thing about Bond and Blofeld being brothers. I never had a problem with that. I don't think I don't think that's as bad an issue as a lot of people make it out to be. But yeah, I really think this could be very, very good, or it could be very, very bad. What do you think? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments and let's chat about it, because this is going to be a fascinating film next April. do all the usual stuff. Like, subscribe. Likes are particularly important. And support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/Ian Beaumont live and direct. In order to help me produce more videos and get some better equipment going again. So, until next time, thanks for watching. Stay sharp. Stay tuned.